respected aspirants, again today we are having a chance to understand spiritual science. And it's very fortunate we are because this spiritual science is something, if you could understand and follow it, heaven will manifest in our life, this world, in this life. People talk about hell and heaven. Actually, what I feel, hell is also here, heaven is also here. And it depends upon us. If you could be spiritual, if you understand the system of working, suppose you have got something, a machine, or you have got electricity in your house, but you don't know how to connect it together. If you don't know the system to connect the electricity, it might hurt us. And if we know the proper system, our house will be lighted. So, the one who understands how to connect electricity, how to wire it, everything he knows about electricity, that mechanic, that electrician can perfectly light a house. Similarly, this world, why it was created, how it's working, these things we have to understand. And even before that, I've seen some people, they are too much about questioning. And questions never finishes. If you put a question, we get an answer, another question comes, and there is no limit to questions. So, spirituality says, before questioning, let's understand one thing, that we need happiness. We are unhappy, our mind is unstable. First of all, we need peace in our life. I remember the story of Alexander the Great. When he was going to conquer the world, he met a sage on the way, Dionys. And he just went to Dionys and said, what can I do for you? Dionys said, you just get out of my sight because you are blocking the sunlight. So this is the thing I want you to do for me. Alexander was quite impressed with his frankness, straightforwardness. And he sat near him. And the saint Dionys asked him, where are you going? He said, I am going to India to conquer India. After that, what you will do? He said, I'll conquer China. After that, I'll conquer Japan. And this way, after conquering Japan, what you will do? He said, so one by one, I'll conquer the whole world. Dionys said, after conquering the whole world, what will you do? He said, then I'll rest in peace. Dionys said, finally, if you have to rest in peace, why you are taking so much trouble? Come sit beside me and have peace. I'll teach you how to have peace in life. So, friends, actually, whatever we are doing in our life, business, service, the hard work that we are doing, if we go deeper into it, it's all to have peace and satisfaction in life. But peace and satisfaction eludes us. We don't get, after doing hard work, after becoming a big businessman, a multi-billionaire, or a big actor, or a big leader, whatever is there, but we don't get peace and happiness. And at that time we feel, oh, I spent so much time, but still I have no peace of mind. And then we get into depression. So the saint says, first of all, instead of pondering over so many questions about the spirituality, about God and all that, first of all, you try to have peace in your life. And that's the greatest achievement of life. If we have peace in our life, if you could attain peace and happiness in our life, that's the actual aim of human life. And for this, unless and we understand spirituality and follow the spiritual practice, I feel we cannot have peace of mind. Science can give us so many comforts, so many convenient life it has made for us. But what has happened? We have become more unhappy. Peace has become more far from us. It's the opposite reaction we are getting. The more science advances, the more we are unstable, the more we are unhappy. So, actually, first of all, instead of pondering so much about books, about spirituality, about these scriptures, first of all, we should find out how to get peace of mind. I remember a story of Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha, somebody asked me, Master, how was this world created and why this world was created? And he was asking so many questions to Buddha, a logical person. Buddha said, first of all, instead of asking all these questions, you just try to have peace of mind. Because suppose there is a mechanic and my car is defective. The mechanic comes to us, me. I'll first ask him to just repair to get my car working. Instead of asking, who are you, from where have you come, all these things are secondary. First, I want my car to be repaired. Similarly, Buddha said, first of all, we should have peace of mind. And he narrated a story there. That story I like very much. And that it's something very useful for us. And that is, what? He says, there was a person's house. And on a table there was a white cloth and an ink bottle was there. From somewhere, a cat came and she was running, and in that situation, she touched the bottle and the ink on the bottle fell on the white cloth and the cat ran away. Now, the owner came and there was a person who was witnessing this incident, the cat incident. He asked that witness, that person, what happened? Why the ink is on the cloth? He said a cat came running and she touched the bottle and the bottle fell and the ink is on the white cloth. Then the owner asked, why was the cat running? The person said, some dogs were chasing her and that's why she was running. He puts another question, why the dogs were chasing her? He said, the dog didn't get food today and that's why they just chased the cat. He said, why didn't the dogs get the food? He said, the owner of those dogs, he lost in some business, he was playing somewhere and in that he lost the money and that's why he couldn't feed the dogs and that's why the dogs were hungry. Why did you play the game? In this way, he was kept on asking and the ink on the cloth was becoming darker and darker. The spot was becoming permanent. So Buddha said, instead of asking so many questions, if a wise landowner, the wise owner, what he would have done, he would have first washed the clothes so that the eye doesn't become permanent on the cloth. But he was just busy in asking the questions and by the time the ink will become permanent and he will not be able to remove the ink. It will become permanent on the cloth. Similar is the situation with us. We ponder over so many things of the world. We discuss so many things in the world and try to show ourselves somebody smart. But if we don't try to have peace at the right moment, the more we delay, the more unhappiness will become permanent in our life. And then, well, when we leave this world, when we go away from this world, we'll be going, repenting that I couldn't find peace in my life. So friends, for spirituality says, the wise people say, the masters say, that first of all, instead of going for so many things, we should find a way to have peace in our life. This is what Christ says in the Bible. He says, first is seek the kingdom of heaven. First is seek the kingdom of heaven. Then all other things will be added unto you. What a beautiful saying he has said, you know. What a beautiful saying he has done. He says, first, you learn spirituality. And then, if you could learn spirituality, practice proper meditation, and have peace in your life, the rest of the things will come automatically to you. And it happens. Actually, you know, we are making a big mistake, a blunder, so to say, in our life. Primary importance we should have given to spirituality, and secondary importance we should have given to worldly affairs. Worldly affairs are also important, but the primary importance we should have given to those spiritual things. What is mind and how to get peace of mind. That was the primary thing we should have learned. But we have left it for old age and are busy in the secondary things, the worldly things which will not even go with us. The result is our life is being spent in suffering. We are just, we hope that one day I'll get peace. And in that hope, the whole life passes away. And in the end, when we don't get peace, then we repent, oh, I tried so many things, but I didn't get peace. Then it's too late, such friends. So, spirituality says, when you are in the right moment, at that time, when you are young, first of all, try to have peace of mind. Peace is the most important thing in our life. And none of the worldly achievements, none of scientific inventions, science has progressed so much, but science has not been able to find a formula to have peace of mind. But that formula is in spiritual science. How to get peace of mind. Mind is within us, and the source of peace is also within us. I have narrated a story, and that story I would like to repeat again today. There was a queen. She had a very, very beautiful necklace, and she loved that necklace very much. One day when she was bathing, she put out her necklace and kept it on the side of the pond, and she started bathing. Some croaked, bird came, and she thought it is something to eat. She took away and flew away. When the queen came out, she didn't find her necklace. A very beautiful, expensive necklace. She started weeping for the necklace, and the king also got in tension, because the queen was in tension, so the king also has to be automatically in tension. The king announced that anybody who search and bring out that necklace, I'll give him a very, very good reward. So people started searching for the necklace, but nobody knows where that bird took it. Anyway, nobody was able to find it. One person was going to another village, and on the way, he wanted to drink some water. He felt thirsty. So there was a pond. He went near the pond, and in the pond he saw that necklace, a beautiful necklace. He could get the idea this necklace belongs to the queen. and was happy, very happy that now I'll be able to get a big prize, a big reward from the king. So he took out his sword and went to inside the river, inside the pond, and tried to pick up that necklace. But when he put his hand inside and brought out, there was nothing. He was surprised because he saw the necklace there. He saw the necklace there, but when he puts his hand inside, he is not getting that necklace. So it was something very astonishing for him, surprising for him. The necklace is there, he is seeing that necklace, but when he goes out to take it, to pick it, he is not getting it. He thought there must be some God or some power, some type of some spirit there which holding that necklace, and when I want to take it, it is hiding that necklace. Now you know the greed. Because of the greed, he neither could go to the village. He just sit there in the hope that I could find some way to get this necklace. In between, another person came. He said, you were to go to the another village. Why are you sitting here? He said, you see, the necklace is there, the necklace of queen, but I'm trying to get it, but I'm not getting it. That person also tried, but the same result was there. In this way, slowly the rumor spread in the city. King came to know, queen came to know, and all of them gathered. And they are seeing the necklace inside the pond. Everybody is trying, but they are not getting it. Somebody said, there is such a God or such a spirit. To please her, we have to do some yajna, some puja, some type of worship. And so there was some yajna going on, some puja started, and there was a big, it's like a mela, a fair. Lot of people have gathered there, a congregation was there. So everybody tried, but they were not able to get that necklace. In between that, a saint was passing by. He said, why so many people have gathered around this pond? What is the reason? What kind of congregation is this one? They said, no, it's not a congregation. The necklace of the queen is inside the pond. We are trying to get hold of that necklace, but we are not getting it. And so, all this is just to get that necklace. To please that God or that spirit, whatever it is which is holding that necklace, so that she can give us that necklace. When we go into the pond, try to take hold of the necklace, it vanishes. The saint also went near the pond. He attentively saw that necklace, and then he said, oh, the necklace is not in the pond. You are missing. You are misled. You are misled. There is no necklace in the pond. Everybody started laughing. So what are you talking? We are practically seeing that necklace in the pond, and you say the necklace is not in the pond? The saint said, if it is there, why are you not getting it? They said, this is a mystery. We have not been able to understand why we have not been able to get hold of that necklace. The saint said, that's why I am saying the necklace is not in the pond. Look up. You see, there was a tree near the pond. And in one of the branches of the tree, the necklace was hanging. And the shade of that necklace was being reflected in the pond water. So now if you try to get hold of the reflection, can you get it? Can you hold it? Catch it? No. And this was happening with all of them. So the saint said, if you have that necklace, instead of trying to catch the reflection of that necklace in the pond, right on this tree, go to that branch and bring out the necklace. Then they came to know that how foolish we were. The necklace was on the tree branch, and it was the reflection in the pond we were trying to get hold of. This is the same situation with us. We are trying to get hold of that peace in the worldly things, and we don't get it. Because actually, outside in the world, there is a reflection of the peace which is within us. It's true, friends. Actually, the source of peace is within us. And in the outer world, we are just seeing a reflection of that. Our situation is just like a musk deer. You know about the musk deer? It is in the Himalayas. And the musk deer gets the smell of that beautiful musk. And he searches from where this beautiful smell is coming. And for that odor of the musk, he wanders here and there, searching for that musk smell. But he doesn't know that the smell of the musk, so beautiful smell, is coming from within him. And the hunter kills him, takes out the musk from him, from his body. So saints say our situation is like that of the musk deer. The source of love, the source of happiness, the source of peace is within us. And that's the energy, the God within us. So to have peace, to have satisfaction and happiness in our life, we have to connect our mind with the power, with the source of peace within us. And so the day we start connecting our mind with God, which is within, not only within one of us, within each and every human being, within the whole universe, it's omnipresent. When we connect with that omnipresent power, connect our mind to it, definitely we get peace of mind. So we have to learn how to connect the mind with that source of love, with that source of happiness. And you know, to connect with anything, first we have to see it. Unless until we see that object, we can't connect our mind to it. So, always three things are required. If you want to see something, we need the eye, we need the object, and we need the light. If the three things are there, then we can observe, we can concentrate on something practically. Similarly, first to see God, first to experience God within us, to meditate on the power within us, we have to see God. We have to practically experience God. And friends, this is possible. People say you imagine God is such and such, such and such. They ask us to imagine on God. But actually, no need to imagine God, you know, and what we imagine is not God. Because the situation is like, you know, suppose you want to find out a well, you want to make a research experiment on whales, and you go to the sea, take a small pot of water, a pot with you, in which you can fill maximum 1 liter of water, and you bring that water from in the pot from the sea, and you try to find out well in that water, in that pot. Is it possible? That water, that pot is so limited, a well cannot come in that water. Similarly, our mind, our senses have got a limit. They are finite, where God is infinite. So with the finite senses and with the finite brain, we can neither understand God nor we can experience God. And that's why we wander in illusion, we wander in ignorance and suffer in life, searching for peace, and we never get it. Saints say there is a process, a practical process through which you can see God. Practically you can experience God. And for that, God has given a special eye, which is called the third eye. Third eye is not a, imaginary eye. People say the eye of knowledge, and with that word we get confused. Just like we have practically these eyes, the left eye and the right eye. Similarly, behind this point, about 4 inches behind this point, where the two optic nerves meet, there is the third eye, the point of the third eye. Now that point is inactive, or in simple language, that eye is closed. And so when we close the eyes, we see dark. But if you could activate that point, if some master, spiritual master, could activate that point, in simple terms, if that eye is open, we can see practically the light of God. And that's why it says there are 4 boundaries. First is the great sky, where you see the the stars, the sun and everything. If you come nearer, then there is the sky up to 220 miles. With the eye, we can, our all environment is up to 220 miles. This is called the sky. When we close the eyes, we see dark. That's called the Ghatakas, the inner world. And when the third eye is opened, we see light. That is the heart sky. So when we get a true master, he can open our third eye, and there, after opening the third eye, we can see that light. And this is what one girl, she said, "Uncle, my uncle has in Rosary, he has remembered 1,25,000 Gayatri mantras he has uttered. Such a big feat he has done. So let's go to meet him." So on her request, I went with her to meet that person. He was a teacher, and first I congratulated him for making such a big feat, remembering Gayatri mantra 1,25,000 times. How much time how much labor he has done, how much time it must have taken. So I congratulated him. Then I said, I have a small query. When you were doing this mantra, where did you connect your mind? Where did you keep your mind? He said that was a problem, to keep the mind at one place. Sometimes I used to attach the mind with some word of mantra, sometimes with the other word of mantra, and this way the mind was wavering. I said, if the mind is wavering, how can we get the result? Suppose we are sitting in a class and our mind is not concentrated on what the teacher is speaking, is talking about. Then shall we be able to learn that lesson? Never. So the mind has to be concentrated. So while doing this Gayatri mantra, if our mind is not concentrated, how we get the result? So friends, actually Gayatri mantra is not just to utter, it is just to experience. We have to understand the meaning of Gayatri mantra, because it says in the scriptures, all the mantras of the Vedas, first somebody saw that mantra, experienced that, and then he uttered the mantra. So someone was the witness to that mantra, and the witness to Gayatri mantra was Vivekananda, sage Vishwamitra. When he saw the light, when he visualized the light of God within us, then he says, Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Oh God, I am meditating on your light. Please give me peace and salvation. He spoke after he visualized the light and meditated on the light. We are speaking without meditating on the light, without visualizing the light. We have not seen the light and we are just mantra. So it will not help. What we are speaking, we have to practically do it. Suppose I am saying I am drinking water, let my thirst be quenched. So just by saying many times, my thirst is not going to be quenched. I have to do what I am saying practically. In the Gayatri Mantra, we are saying I am meditating on your light. Bhargo Devasya Dhimai means I am meditating on your light. But if you are not meditating on light, just speaking, then never we can have peace of mind. We have to do what we are speaking. And this is where we are missing. So actually, to have peace of mind, we have to activate our third eye, see practically the light of God within us, meditate on that light, then definitely we shall have peace of mind. And to activate the eye, we need a living spiritual master. I am using the word living spiritual master. Someday I will talk about what is the difference between the past masters and the living master. When we meet a living spiritual master, like a living surgeon, he will operate our third eye, get the third eye point activated, and then immediately we shall see light. And when we meditate on that light, definitely we shall have peace of mind. So what we need in the world, first of all, is peace. Let us try, let us have endeavor to attain peace of mind. And if we are peaceful, our family will be peaceful, our society will be peaceful, our state will be peaceful, our country will be peaceful, and by this way, in this way, we can establish peace and harmony in the whole world. Thank you everybody, thank you very much. Again we shall be meeting tomorrow at the same time, by the time. Thanks very much, thank you very much.